Part 1. The Abandoned House on Highway. Chapter 1. The Detour. It was supposed to be a simple road trip. Just me, my beat-up Chevy, and 12 hours of empty highway between me and my sister's wedding in Colorado. I'd made this drive before, straight shot down I-80. Nothing but gas stations and the occasional truck stop. But this time, the universe had other plans. A massive pileup near Omaha forced me onto a detour. One of those backroads GPS insists is faster, but looks like it hasn't been paved since the 70s. The sky turned bruise purple as thunder rumbled in the distance. My phone signal flickered in and out, and by the time the rain started, I was officially lost. That's when I saw the sign. Black Pine Lodge, 5 miles vacancy. The letters were barely legible, the wood warped and moss-eaten. But with the storm worsening and my gas needle hovering near I didn't have a choice. The lodge was a 2-story relic slumped at the edge of a pine forest. No cars in the lot, no lights in the windows, just a flickering neon and O in the NO vacancy sign. I almost drove past, but then the front door creaked open. A woman stood there, backlit by a single bulb. She looked like she'd been carved out of the same wood as the lodge, wrinkled, splintered, and somehow ageless. "Room's $60 cash," she said before I could speak. "Power's out, but the beds are dry." I hesitated. Something about the way she stared, not at me, but past me, into the storm, made my skin prickle. But the rain was coming down sideways now. "Just one night," I said. Chapter 2, Room 13. The lobby smelled like mothballs and wet dog. The woman, Marla, according to her name tag, slid a leather-bound ledger toward me. The last entry was dated October 31st, 1987. "You're the first guest this season," she said, smiling. Her teeth were too white, too even. The key she gave me was iron, heavy as a bullet. Room 13. Second floor, end of the hall. The stairs groaned under my weight, the wallpaper peeling to reveal older layers beneath, floral, then stripes, then something dark and stained. The room was wrong. The bed was neatly made, but the sheets were damp. The mirror above the dresser had been covered with a sheet, like a corpse, and the closet door stood slightly ajar, the darkness inside thicker than it should have been. I told myself it was just an old building. Then I heard the knock. 3 sharp raps on the door. Not the front door, my door. I froze. Marla had said I was the only guest. "Hello," I called. Silence. Then, from the closet, a whisper. "You shouldn't be here." I spun. The closet door was now wide open. Inside, dangling from a wire hanger, was a red baseball cap. Chapter 3. The Night Manager. I bolted downstairs. The lobby was empty, the ledger gone. A door behind the counter swung gently, as if someone had just passed through. "Marla," I shouted. No answer, just the wind howling through the eaves. Then, a flicker of movement in the dining room. A man in a black suit stood by the fireplace, his back to me. He was tall, too tall, his limbs slightly elongated like a shadow, stretched at dusk. "Storm's got the phones down," he said without turning. "No way out tonight." I never told him I'd asked to leave. He finally faced me. His eyes were pure black, no whites, no pupils. "I'm the night manager," he said. "Let me know if you need anything." The way he said it made my stomach drop. I retreated to my room, shoved the dresser in front of the door, and sat on the bed with my pocket knife in hand. That's when I noticed the writing on the wall, tiny, frantic letters scratched into the paint. "They wear their faces at night." Chapter 4. The Basement. The power died at midnight. Something was in the hallway, not walking, but dragging itself. A wet, slithering sound punctuated by soft, childlike giggles. Then the closet door burst open. I didn't scream. I didn't breathe. Inside the closet, where there had been only darkness before, was a staircase leading down. A cold, earthy draft wafted up, carrying the scent of turned soil and something metallic. A voice floated up from the abyss. "Come see what we buried, traveler." I knew then this wasn't a detour. This was a trap, and the lodge had been waiting for me. Part 2. The Faceless. Chapter 5. The Staircase. I stood frozen before the gaping closet door, my breath ragged. The rotting wooden stairs descended into a darkness, so thick it seemed to swallow the flickering light from my phone. The whisper came again, a middle-aged man's voice, thick with phlegm. "Come down. We've waited long enough." The stench of damp earth and something coppery blood rolled over me. I stepped back, but then a new sound cut through the silence. Scratches at the bedroom door. Long, bony fingers with waxy white skin were clawing at the wood from the hallway. I had no choice left. I stepped onto the staircase. Chapter 6. The Chapel of Skin. The basement wasn't a basement at all. It was a cavernous chapel, its low ceiling strung with black candles. Dozens of masks lined the walls, stretched human skin, eye holes stitched shut with black thread. At the center stood a wooden altar carved with Latin, Sanguis vocat sanguinem. Blood calls to blood. Then I saw them. 3 figures, if they could be called that, kneeling before the altar in tattered black robes. They weren't wearing masks, because their faces had no features, just smooth, doll-like flesh where eyes and mouth should have been. The center figure raised a rusted dagger. "New guests," hissed the night manager's voice from its blank face. "Pay their rent in marrow." Chapter 7. The Inheritance. I lunged for the stairs, but Marla dropped from the ceiling like a spider. Her wrinkled skin was peeling away, revealing fresh, youthful flesh beneath, and a face I recognized. "Don't you know me, Jared?" she crooned in my sister's voice. "We've been waiting for you to take the wrong turn, just like Dad did in '87. The ledger. The last guest. Oh, God." I grabbed the red baseball cap from a hook, the only object in the room with color, and slammed it onto my head. The faceless screeched, recoiling from the crimson, like vampires from sunlight. Chapter 8. The Bargain. Branches lashed my face as I fled through the woods. Behind me, the creatures moved through the trees without sound, their robes snagging on thorns like dead flesh. My car waited, but the keys were gone. I smashed the window with a rock, hot-wired the ignition. As the tire spun mud, the rearview mirror showed the night manager standing in the road, his featureless face splitting open vertically to reveal a jagged, too-wide smile. "You'll be back." His voice echoed inside my skull. The lodge always collects its debts. Part 3. The Whispering Cap. Chapter 9. The Roadside Revelation. The Chevy's engine screamed as I fishtailed onto the highway. My hand shook so violently the wheel jerked between them. In the rearview mirror, the forest swallowed Black Pine Lodge whole, as if it had never existed. Then the cap spoke. "They'll follow the scent," it murmured, its voice like dry leaves crunching underfoot. I swerved, nearly hitting the guardrail. The red fabric clung to my skull, its stitches pulsing like veins. A sign flashed by. "Next service is 42 miles. The voice grew urgent. "Stop the car. Now." I wrenched the wheel onto a gravel turnout. The second I killed the engine, a shadow oozed across the road behind me. Something with too many limbs, sniffing the asphalt like a bloodhound. The cap whispered, "It smells your fear." Chapter 10. The Diner at the Edge of Reality. Sunrise found me at a roadside diner called Ella's End. The place was straight out of the 1950s. Chrome stools, a jukebox playing Patsy Cline on loop, and a waitress with hollow cheeks who stared at my cap a beat too long. "Where'd you get that?" she asked, pouring coffee that smelled like wet ash. "Thrift store," I lied. She slid a napkin across the counter, scribbled in grease pencil, "Take it off and you die." The jukebox skipped. Every patron, all 6 of them, had turned to watch us. Their eyes were sewn shut with fishing line. The cap hissed, "She's one of them." Chapter 11. The Hitchhiker's Secret. I fled north with no destination. At a gas station near the Nebraska border, a hitchhiker waved me down, a girl no older than 20, her backpack streaked with what looked like blood. "Please," she panted, yanking open my passenger door. "They're coming." The cap screamed in my mind, "Lies." Too late. Her fingers sank into my forearm like meat hooks. Up close, her skin was newsprint glued to rotting flesh. The headlines all dated October 31st, 1987. "Local family vanishes on Highway 17. The cap's voice turned glacial. "Your sister was never getting married, Jared." Chapter 12. The Truth in the Motel Mirror. I escaped by driving into a ditch. The hitchhiker melted into the trees, her laughter peeling like old wallpaper. That night at a motel, I finally dared remove the cap. The bathroom mirror showed three things that shouldn't exist. A black handprint burned into my forehead. My pupils, now vertical slits like a goat's. The reflection of a man in a red cap standing behind me. He whispered, "You've worn it too long." When I spun around, the room was empty. The cap sat grinning on the sink, its brim dripping black oil. Part 4, The Family Business. Chapter 13, The Blood in the Ledger. The motel mirror hadn't lied. 3 days after Black Pine Lodge, the black handprint on my forehead began to pulse. The cap's whispers grew louder, now punctuated by wet, choking sounds, like something drowning in my skull. I drove until the highway signs blurred, chasing the only clue I had. The Hitchhiker's newspaper headline. October 31st, 1987. The day my father disappeared. The microfilm room at the Nebraska State Library reeked of mildew and despair. The brittle pages of the Black Pine Gazette crumbled under my fingers as I turned to the correct date. Family of 4 vanishes near Highway 17. Search continues for missing travelers. Vehicle found abandoned at Black Pine Lodge. The photo showed a Chevy nearly identical to mine. And standing beside it, his face half turned from the camera, my father. His hand rested on the shoulder of a boy in a red cap. Me. I was 4 years old in 1987, and I had been there. Chapter 14, Ella's Endgame. The diner waited exactly where I'd left it. This time, Ella didn't pretend. Her fingers, now visibly stitched together with fishing line, slid a plate of raw meat toward me. The jukebox played my mother's voice singing a lullaby. "Your daddy promised you to the lodge," she said, her mouth unspooling thread like a spider's silk. "A life for a life. His for yours." The patrons leaned in, their sewn-shut eyelids straining. One whispered, "The cap's hungry. Feed it." I reached for my forehead. The handprint was gone, because it wasn't on my skin anymore. It was inside. Chapter 15, The Unmasking. Black Pine Lodge looked different in daylight. The walls bled sap where I touched them. The ledger lay open on the front desk, its latest entry freshly inked. Jared Michaels, room 13, paid in full. The night manager emerged from the dining room. His suit was gone. His true form was a column of faces. My father's screaming visage stretched over Marla's, over the hitchhikers, over dozens of others, all sewn together at the lips. "Welcome home," they chorused. I tore the cap from my head. The pain was apocalyptic, like peeling off my own scalp. Blood sheeted down my face as the lodge's walls breathed inward, ready to digest me. Then I saw it. The loophole. The ledger's fine print. A debt may be transferred. I grabbed the pen and wrote a new name. Chapter 16, The New Night Manager. The hitchhiker stood behind the front desk now, her newsprint skin replaced with fresh human hide. The cap perched happily on her head, its brim no longer dripping. "You're a natural at this," she said, handing me a key. "Room 13 is yours forever." I walked upstairs. My reflection in the hallway mirror showed a man with smooth, featureless skin where his face used to be. Downstairs, a car pulled into the lot. A family of 4 stepped out, their eyes bright with road trip excitement. The little boy wore a red cap. I smiled with lips I no longer had and reached for the ledger. "Welcome to Black Pine Lodge." Epilogue, the ledger's last page. If you're reading this, you've stayed past checkout time. The cap will whisper. The faces will hunger. But remember the one rule that matters. Someone always pays. Turn the page to see whose name comes next.